If you want to go deep dive on this kind of stuff, we do an online seminar every single month for our patron members, FLP members, and anyone is welcome to join us. Costs a few bucks. Hit the link in the a few bucks. Hit the link in the description to come to this month's seminar. Yeah, I mean, this guy is obviously a bad guy. And these kinds of serial robbers these kinds of serial robbers are the worst of the worst. And you got to recognize that. And you got to recognize that as such. You may draw the short straw here and get an armed robber who is experienced. An armed robber who is experienced and who is hardcore and is cold-blooded, and that's exactly what we see here. Also a great reason to carry your firearm with you if at all possible. This young man probably wouldn't have the ability to do that. But and I know it's 3 But and I know it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but and I know it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but and I know it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So, why are you doing outside at 3 a.m.? Well, sometimes you got to if you got culinary school. Well, sometimes you got to if you got culinary school starts at 6 or 5. Well, sometimes you got to if you got culinary school starts at 6. Starts at 6 or 5 or something like that. Well, sometimes you got to if you got culinary school starts at 6 or 5 or something like that. You got to take the bus, the subway, that kind of stuff. These things happen. But when you do recognize, man, you might be victimized because But when you do recognize, man, you might be victimized because cockroaches come out at night. Now this dude comes and he puts the gun up in his face immediately, and actually I really like this strategy here. Just the compliance. Just the compliance says, okay, man. Just the compliance says, okay, man, no problem, go ahead. And we call that purposeful compliance, not just compliance because I don't. We call that purposeful compliance, not just compliance because I don't have any other options, but compliance to gain. But compliance to gain an end result for me. And that might be that he took my stuff and then he leaves. And here's my bag full of stuff. And here's my bag full of stuff for culinary school. Go ahead, man, have at it. Or maybe that is, to get to a place where I can try a disarm. Or get to my own gun or those things. But that compliance is a perfectly good strategy. But it didn't work here because he wants his mobile. But it didn't work here because he wants his mobile device as well. This guy's a robber, has been telling people, give me your mobile. And then what's the number to your mobile? So, and then what's the number to your mobile? So what's the security code? So, what's the security code so that he can go and steal money out of their Venmo and those kinds of things. So we asked him, oh, unlock. So we asked him, oh, unlock your phone and give me your phone. So we asked him, oh, unlock your phone and give me your phone. Okay, fine. And one of the things that we see here is this is the okay, fine. And one of the things that we see here is this is the point that our victim ends up trying to disarm from. And one of the things that we see here is this is the point that our victim ends up trying to disarm from. And you notice how far and you notice how far he is. And when we talk about doing a disarm, and you notice how far he is. And when we talk about doing a disarm, we talk about the 5Ds plus 1 and the when we talk about doing a disarm, we talk about plus 1 is distance. You got to start the disarm attempt from the correct distance. Generally in disarm attempts, whoever has the shorter arms, whoever's holding closer to their body is winning. So you've got to get close to do that. He didn't really get close. Didn't really get close. He did some good things, but the reason that he really struggled is he reached out and that let the guy some opportunity to pull it away. Now I do like the fact here that he is focused on the limb and he's getting both hands on the limb. So the 5Ds plus 1 right? Once we cover the distance, it's deflect. So the 5Ds plus 1, right? Once we cover the distance, it's deflect, dominate, distract, disarm, disable. We see that work again and again, and when we don't see it, when we don't see those elements happen in that order or combined in that order, we see failure. And that's exactly what we see here, because he did deflect okay. He's trying to dominate. trying to dominate, but you got to recognize it is not as easy as you think it is. You want to make sure that you've got the gun controlled, the hand with the gun, and then the arm with the gun and do something with it. And he struggled to do that, so they end up going to the ground because he's struggling to dominate. And he didn't dominate. And because he's in the dominance struggle, now he's got to go back and deflect again and keep that gun from pointing at him. Second thing here, Second thing here, hey, this is a weaponized environment. And grappling is necessary here. And learning some grappling. And learning some grappling for a firearms carrier is incredibly important. And I think that some folks in the gun community think, oh, I don't want to worry. And I think that some folks in the gun community think, oh, I don't want to worry about that grappling stuff, and I don't want to worry about jiu-jitsu or any of those things. And I think you should. I think you should worry about grappling in that environment. Striking as well, because you know the stand. Striking as well, because you know the standing striking was important in the beginning of this. Now important in the beginning of this, and now the grounded grappling very important in this. Now the grounded grappling, very important in this. Our victim doesn't have any of those things. Now the grounded grappling, very important in this. Our victim doesn't have any of those things because he just because he just hasn't trained in those, and so he doesn't have any answers here. because he just hasn't trained in those, and so he doesn't have any answers here. And he could have maybe done something here to get in a better position before the second bad guy shows up. Before the second bad guy shows up. And of course, the trailing accomplice. And of course, the trailing accomplice makes this 10 times harder. And I don't think there's anything the victim. I don't think there's anything the victim could have done in order to get to that. In order to get to that place and to go, oh, no, I'm going to overcome both at the same time. But if his disarm attempt was started from a little better place with a little more knowledge and a little more practice, he might have been able to take it away before. He might have been able to take it away before going to the ground and getting tangled up, and therefore the second. Therefore the second guy wouldn't have come in. That's a possibility, but that's a possibility. But at this point, very very difficult. That's a possibility, but at this point, very difficult. Now, of course, they're going to end up getting the gun away from him. Now, of course, they're going to end up getting the gun away from him. And getting it back to our original perp. And he doesn't want to give it up. And he doesn't want to give it up to our original perp. And he doesn't want to give it up. And he doesn't want to give it up. Original perp. And he doesn't want to give it up. I would say this: if you've got a hold. I would say this: if you've got a hold of it in any way, you're fighting. I would say this: if you've got a hold of it in any way, you're fighting for your life, and hold of it in any way, you're fighting for your life, and you should. I would say this: if you've got a hold of it in any way, you're fighting for your life. You're fighting for your life, and you should think of it as fighting for your life. You're fighting for your life, and you should think of it as fighting for your life, because exactly what happens here is as soon as he gets it back from the guy, he shoots him. He takes it as a personal offense, and he, after this first shot especially, there's and he after this first shot especially, there's no reason for him to shoot the guy other than I'm mad at you for offending me. I'm mad at you for challenging me, and I'm going to show you that I did mean business. This is the kind of criminal that will do that. Your life is worth nothing to them. So in these cases, I want you to make sure that you know if you choose to fight, not comply, but if you choose to fight, you fight like that guy wants to kill you because he does. And you fight like that guy wants to kill you because he does. And if he's pointed a gun at you, he does. And I get it that robbers run off sometimes and all that stuff, but here we see this. Here we see the second shot that, listen, they won't always do that, and we cannot assume that they have good intent towards us. That's why they're pointing guns at us. That's why they're pointing guns at us. And again, of course, that last one is he's trying to open the guy's phone and use the password and scream at him for the password and all that. He gets it and lights a third one into his face. Listen, friends, emotional fitness, incredibly important. Now he's sitting there and bleeding. It's incredibly important. Now he's sitting there and bleeding. Now he's sitting there and bleeding. Now, I will say this, if you go read the news stories that I've linked in the description, a bystander heard this. Heard what was going on, not only called 911, but came out there after the bad guys scurried off and helped him and helped him and packed his wounds and helped him and packed his wounds and helped keep him okay until the paramedics arrived, which is one of the major reasons that he lived through this. So a good reminder is a bite. So a good reminder is a bystander to make sure that you have a great med kit at home, that it's readily accessible at home, and that you know how to use it to help somebody's life. So let's learn the lessons out of this one so we can do a better job of covering our ass.